Welcome to the Action Playbook. I'm Jason Fox.
And I'm Coach Robin.
And we're helping leaders take action in life and business. Shall we talk about some education then?
Oh, are we on?
We are now.
All right. Yeah, let's talk about learning.
Yep, so I left school and I thought I was done with education. So I've learned everything I need to know. And that was probably a mindset I had till I was about 30.
Yeah.
It was an unhealthy one.
It was indeed. Yeah, I can't say I felt the same way, but definitely I wasn't thinking about investing into learning until I was well into the business and realized very quickly that I needed to get better at a lot of things to make the business better.
Yeah. Fair call. And look, hey, when I was young, to learn once you'd left school is to read a book, and I can't read well. I mean, I can read, but I don't retain the information. My mind starts zipping and zapping everywhere else. So until the birth of podcasts and education on YouTube and stuff like that was a lot. It didn't grip me like it does these days with these platforms.
Yeah, and I think a lot of research has been done into learning styles, so some people are visual learners, others are audio learners, kinesthetic, and now the new one is digital learning as well, so school isn't the ideal place to foster a good learning culture, actually. Yeah, sure. I don't think anyway. Throw into that things like, recent studies done on dyslexia and all of those. But one thing that is true is when one finds a subject that is interesting or valuable or perceived valuable, it definitely changes the way we go about it, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And look, I can read, I can't read, is it fiction? The fake one?
Yes. The Fugazi fiction.
Yeah. I have no interest in it. It does nothing for me. But, reading someone's biography or some of these business books, like they really grip me. Yeah.
And that's actually a really good point, because reading someone's biography is really learning their path, their journey that they've been through. And why wouldn't we follow somebody's journey if they've had massive success or done something significant? And people often say, yeah, but you learn from making mistakes, but it doesn't mean you go looking for mistakes to learn. You know what I mean? That's right. You could still learn without making mistakes.
Yeah, learn from others' mistakes. Right? Follow their story and see how they failed and the reasons why they failed, and try not to make them for yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. They've gone through that process of elimination or trial and error, and they've paid their school fees to learn those lessons that they're just passing on to us. So why not learn the lessons from them?
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, of course, is you've got to invest in yourself. By learning, you're investing in yourself. There's a saying that, a tree, when it's not growing, it's dying. And I think people are the same. If we're not learning, we're stagnating. And learning is a lifelong journey. I think that's really what it all comes down to. Yeah,
that I've never heard the tree, but I always say if you're not growing, you're dying. That's a saying that I definitely firmly believe in. And, I really like that story about that Hamish came up with, I think, one of his things where he's talking about a kid goes to school, he's there with all his mates, he's in year 10. Next year his mates move on to year 11, but he repeats year 10. Then they go to year 12, he repeats year 10. Goes to year 13, repeats it, goes to university, he's still in year 10. And he's like, it's insanity. No one would ever do that. But that's what actually probably 95% of people do on earth with their jobs and stuff. Look how many people, what are you doing for Christmas? Oh, our family tradition is, and it's nice they got that tradition, but it's the same thing every year. It's copy and paste. They don't need to think about it. They just do the same thing. And in that process, they're not growing.
I remember that. It's I talk about the carbon copy life, right? So take your life, imagine your life on a page, and taking that to a copier machine and going, okay, all right, new year, yay, copy that, and then, you know, do it again at the end of the next year and the next year after that. So yeah, we don't want to live a carbon copy life, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
How boring would that be? But you are right. A lot of people out there are doing that, and so just to put context and how this fits into business, the first podcast we spoke about dreams, right? Dreams are really important because that sets our destination.
Second podcast, but yeah, first was action.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The previous podcast was about setting goals, right? And those are the milestones, so that, you know, and dreams give purpose, by the way. The dreams give purpose. The milestones are the goals. That tells us how we're doing in our progress. It also helps motivate and inspire us. And then the next step normally would be planning.
Sure.
You know, so dream, goal, plan, act. But I want to throw another step in there, and that's the learning phase. And the reason why it's important is, you know, before we go and set out how to plan to achieve our goals, invariably, there's going to need to be some learning involved, some development needs to take place, because the person that you are now is not necessarily or unlikely to be the person you need to be to achieving those goals, and certainly to achieving those dreams.
That's right.
I know this is a strong philosophy of yours too.
Yeah, 100%. I literally had that conversation with my work, with the Credit One brand this week. I said, you know, what got me to where I am today is not going to get me to where I want to be in the next 5-10 years. So something needs to change, and coming to a podcast near you soon, updates on that. But I can't keep repeating the same thing, and man, I'm excited for what the future holds for me. It's given me bring on Monday. What do I want to, obviously next Monday is exciting for me because I'm going to play golf, but the following Monday when I get back into work is cool, right? All these new parts of a business that I get to learn, and people I get to meet, and all the rest of it, and learn their stories. Like it's everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember during the first phase of my business, it was literally just see what today brings. There wasn't a lot of forethought put into that. We weren't proactive. We were a reactive business.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think a lot of.
Yeah, and it was only later on in that business journey that I started realizing, hey, listen, if I'm going to make this business better, I need to be better. A mentor of mine said to me, the person who starts a business is not the person who runs the business later on. And at the time, I remember thinking he meant bring somebody in to run the business. But what he was really saying is I needed to change. And when I cottoned onto that idea, that's when I really started investing in myself. And it really is an investment, right? Because there's a return. The business improved, the business grew, employed more people, which is satisfying for me. And started smashing those goals one after the other. But before I could do that, I had to become the person that could run a business of that size. So just a reminder about that Jim Rohn saying, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better.
Yeah, great saying.
Yeah. And that's really what it's about. I could not have achieved a lot of those goals had I not invested in myself first. And that is the shortcut.
Sure.
It's the faster route to smashing those goals rather than trial and error or process of elimination.
Yeah, look, it takes an incredibly naive person to think that they know everything to whatever it may be in their business, or, I don't need to listen to someone's advice, or I don't need to study this a little bit more, I'll just fly by the seat of my pants. But ultimately, that's how people show up. There's that, I'll just try and figure it out, and struggle for years, rather than, we talk about in our program, the collective intelligence. Let's talk to the people in the room here. And if there's 20 people in the room, there's a high chance that someone's been through whatever it is you're struggling with today.
And get a business mentor. Look, the beautiful thing about living at this time is that, there is just so much information out there accessible to all of us, to everybody. And the speed of information, as things change, as trends develop, we get to see it almost in real time, right? That's how fast information travels. So we're very fortunate to have all this information around us that we could access, and why shouldn't we? But I also want to say, I think having a mentor can also help with that development in your business and in your life.
Yeah, and everyone thinks that to get a mentor, they've got to call Tony Robbins or do something and say, hey, mate, can I shadow you? But sometimes a mentor is someone you grow up with that's in a similar industry, or it could be a friend, or it could be a dad's friend, it could be lots of people. But ultimately, you can actually choose a mentor by coming along to something like our program as well.
Yeah.
And the beauty of this for me is, it was funny, I could not imagine being a teacher. Oh my God, poor teachers dealing with these students. Like, why would they do it? And ultimately, I've become a teacher through these programs and the podcasts and stuff. I'm like, and I only clicked to that about 3 or 4 months ago. I was like, shit, am I a teacher? But the beauty of it is to teach is to learn twice. And having these conversations and stuff, it really sets it back into my head again, and repurposes that information and makes, brings it front of mind while we're having these discussions, and it helps me apply it to my own life all the way through.
Yeah, and there's a scorecard. Look at your life, look what you've achieved, and look what you're still achieving and going to.
Just getting started. That's
the scorecard. That is the return on your investment that you've put into yourself as well, and that's amazing. So I think the best thing is, just get out there, invest in yourself. You won't regret it. Go take some action.
Is that all right?
Boom.
Easy.